In less than 1 week, an algae bloom can turn a healthy lake into a green toxic soup. Aquatic vegetation actually plays a key role in remediating algae blooms because water plants, especially the benthic ones, take up nutrients from the lake, but also they produce oxygen, which is good for the ecosystem. However, when algae are actually growing, they compete with the aquatic vegetation. They take away the sunlight, so the aquatic vegetation doesn't grow anymore, but they also raise pH levels, making it more difficult for aquatic vegetation to grow. So if you have healthy aquatic plants in your lake, this actually will already help balancing out the lake and preventing algae blooms to happen. That's why whenever situation we go to restore a lake or assess the water quality, we always look first at the state of the aquatic vegetation in the lake. When algae start outcompeting aquatic vegetation in the lake and the plants actually start dying off, this triggers an entire extra chain inside the lake's ecosystem. One of the first things that starts happening when aquatic vegetation dies off is the reduction of oxygen close to the sediment, so in the deeper layers of the lake. And this has a very detrimental effect for the rest of the ecosystem, because bacteria that are normally present in the sediment will stop reducing or breaking down organic components. So as you can see, whenever algae blooms start occurring, every year you will see that they get stronger and stronger and more present because the ecosystem in the lake further deters. Now this is important because the stronger an algae bloom grows, the stronger the growth of the algae becomes in a reservoir, you will also see that algae evolve quicker. It means that they can more easily become resistant to whatever treatment is present in the lake. This can be, for example, chemicals, this can be mixing, but it can also be ultrasonic algae control. Algae are among the most adaptive organisms in the world. That's also why they are such old organisms in this world. And you can find them everywhere in the most extreme circumstances. For example, you can find them under ice, in volcanoes, at extremely high pH levels. Wherever they are, you can see that they adapted to the environment. So this is important because it means that whatever kind of treatment method you are imposing on the algae, you should take into account that they are actually able to become resistant to this. For a large part of the research towards our MPC-Buoy technology has been around this. How do we prevent the algae from becoming resistant to the ultrasonic algae control? And what we came up with is Interactive Algae Control. It means that whatever ultrasonic frequencies and ultrasonic programs we use, we can adapt it to the growth stage, to the type of algae, and to the water quality that they are present in. So how do we do that? First of all, our MPC-Buoy starts with monitoring the water quality. We monitor in real time different parameters of the water quality that are being sent to an online server every 30 minutes. We monitor parameters for chlorophyll A to monitor green algae, phycocyanin to monitor blue-green algae, and then also water quality parameters like, for example, dissolved oxygen, temperature, turbidity, and pH. The data on the server is continuously being analyzed, first of all by a water quality expert, but also by algorithms that are constantly looking at the growth stage of the algae and making predictions of the algae. Now, based on this, whenever we see a change in the algae growth, or we predict a change in the algae growth or in the algae species, the unit automatically changes its ultrasonic program. Now that means that we don't only change the frequencies, we can change the amplitude, so how loud is the ultrasound, we can change the order of the frequencies, we can change the way that we emit the frequencies. And this actually prevents that we can constantly adapt to the algae growth stage, and we can with that also prevent that the algae will become resistant to the ultrasound. Now, for the last decades, we have been implementing MPC-Buoy projects in over 60 countries worldwide. And every single MPC-Buoy that we have been installing in the world has been sending data every 30 minutes to our online server. And every data set has been used to strengthen our algorithms. Now that means that with every project we implement, our treatment becomes more efficient, better adapted to the local circumstances, and with that will also help you better control the algae in your lake.